Hi, my name is Eli Halliwell. I'm the CEO of Hairstory, and I'm creating a series of videos to help hairdressers figure out how to navigate the CARES Act and specifically focused on the PPP. This video is designed for people who are self-employed, are sole proprietors, or independent contractors who do not have a corporate entity. They don't have an S Corp or a LLC. They've been basically just working for themselves and have not created that extra entity. People like you are going to have the biggest challenge with this process, and it may force you to reconsider that strategy, and that you may in the future decide that you want to create an entity. There are a lot of benefits to creating your own little company, and a lot of tax benefits as well. So let me start by just talking about why the PPP is important and what it basically is here for. The point of the PPP is to put money in the pockets of people like you who have been forced to not work during this coronavirus crisis. And the money is meant to help you pay for your lives and also to pay forward in the form of rent and to buy stuff. And in many cases, it's also designed for, in the words that you're going to see in the application, are designed for people who have employees on payroll, so that the company that applies is going to be able to pass that money forward to their employees. This is where it gets tricky because it is meant to apply to you as well, but you're going to see it doesn't look like it is. So the most important thing for you to know is that they did create it with you in mind, and you are supposed to get this money, and you are just as entitled to it as anybody else. So if you run into roadblocks, you may have to fight a bit more, but the money is meant for you. Let me tell you what assumptions I'm starting off with here. I'm starting off with the assumption that you do not have your own entity. You're a sole proprietor, an independent contractor, or a self-employed person. But you do have some way of tracking how much money you've earned. You've got a way of tracking the money coming in. So you have Square, you've got bank statements you can look at with regular deposits that came in, you've got Venmo, some way to track the money that you have earned over time. I'm also assuming that the money that you earned over time is accurately reflected in your IRS tax statements, right? So you can't say that I only earned $4,000 a month and then now say, actually, I earn $7,000 a month. They have to actually foot with each other. So keep that in mind. I'm also assuming that you pay rent of some form. So you either rent a chair, or you rent a suite, or you have your own space and you pay rent for the space. And then the last assumption is that you were in business last year. And if you weren't, but you were in business as of Feb 15, then you're covered too. It's just a slightly different process. So do you qualify for the PPP? The answer is yes, you do. And again, fight for it because it's going to be a little bit harder for you. There's no collateral required. There are no personal guarantees required, and there are no credit checks. I've not seen any mention of a credit check. When can you apply? You can apply as of April 10th. So starting on April 10th, you can apply all the way through June 30th. How do you calculate the amount that you are able to take out as a loan? Well, you're going to need to go and look at last year and look at all of the money that came in, all of the earnings that you made through Square or whatever it is. You have to look at that total amount, divide it by 12, and come up with an average monthly income. It's meant to be a proxy for payroll. When you look at the form, it's going to say payroll. What they mean is the amount of money that came in income. And that is going to be after any sales tax that you may have charged, but it's before all the other expenses. So it's not your profit, not your net profit, not your gross profit. I would just say this is the income that I earned. Then you're going to look at any payroll taxes that you made. So if you had any state taxes or anything else you had to pay, it's not income tax. It's going to be I'm guessing you didn't pay payroll taxes, but any taxes that you had, and also any benefits that you have. So if you have an IRA, if you have signed up for Obamacare or any other health insurance, all of those get to be added together. And that together is going to be considered as your average monthly payroll. You're going to take that number and you're going to multiply it by 2.5 in order to get to the loan amount that you are eligible for. So let me go through an example. Let's say that your income from services altogether, and you want to include tips in here as well, is $5,000. And then the tips are an extra 1,000 in my example here. So $6,000 total. You're going to take that 6,000, multiply it by 2.5, and you get $15,000. So $15,000 is the loan amount that you are eligible to get. That's a lot of money. How can you spend the money? Well, you can spend it any way you want, but if you want to have the loan forgiven, you have to spend it in very specific ways to have that portion forgiven. So you're going to want to put yourself, essentially pretend like you're paying yourself. So, I mean, you probably need to write yourself a check each month for the amount that you said was the average earnings that you had last year. And you do that twice. And the other thing that's important here is that you're going to have to make sure that you do all of the spending in the first 8 weeks. You have 8 weeks after you get the loan to spend the money and to have it counted as forgiven. Anything that happens that you spend after 8 weeks, even if it's on the right category, it's not going to be counted as forgiven. So you're going to pay yourself money. You're going to pay your business rent, right? Not your personal rent, but if you rent a chair, if you rent a suite, if you pay rent for a space that you have on your own, that all counts as a forgivable expense. If there are any utilities, I guess most booth renters don't pay for utilities, but if you have your own space, you may. That counts. And then if you own your own space and you have a mortgage on it, you can count the interest on the mortgage that you're paying. So that 8-week period is the magic. You have to spend the money quickly. And the other thing to know is that if you started taking unemployment, you're going to have to go off of unemployment by April 26th in order to qualify for the forgiveness. So you're not going to be able to earn both unemployment and have this money forgiven. It's one or the other. So let me do an example. We went back and we said that you were earning $6,000 a month in total between the sales of your services and the tips. That times 2 months is $12,000. Let's say that the rent that you pay on a chair or a suite or your space is $1,000 a month. That's another $2,000. So now we're at $14,000. Your loan was for $15,000, so there's a $1,000 difference. And that $1,000 will not be forgiven. So what happens with it? Well, it becomes a normal loan. And there's no payment due on that loan for 6 months, so there's a grace period. The interest rate is incredibly low. It's either 1% or 4%. I can't really tell based on what I've read so far. And it's going to last for 2 years. And at the end of the 2 years, it needs to be fully paid. But I think a lot of people are going to say, I don't need this extra $1,000 sitting around here and to worry about paying this loan and remembering. So they're going to want to prepay it. And you can prepay it. There's no penalty. And you can be all done. So where do you apply? This is the tricky part. You're supposed to apply through your bank. And unfortunately, I've already been hearing that a lot of independent contractors like you have personal bank accounts, but you don't have a business bank account. And that is something that the banks are using to make it harder for you to get the loan. They're saying that they're only doing it for people who have a previous business account. Do not let them tell you that. You need to fight and tell them that you are just as eligible for this loan as anyone else, and they can't discriminate against you. It's going to sometimes be a bit of a struggle, but you should fight and fight and fight and fight. Some banks are even saying that if you haven't had a loan from us in the past, that they're not going to do it. That's also total crap. Don't take that either. Advocate for yourself. Do not let yourself be discriminated against. And if you can't get it through that bank, there should be other SBA-approved financial institutions that will process your loan, but it may be harder to find or take a while since you don't have a relationship. That's all I have for you today. The last thing that I want to say is that we have an online community that we've created called the Breakroom, and we just launched it 2 weeks ago. It's a place for hairdressers to come together and grow personally and professionally, and help each other and share. And it's been just an incredible pleasure to watch it and be part of it. I'd love for you to join. There's the URL is going to be put right here, right on the page. I'll tell you what it is. It's the-break-room.mn.co/feed. So please come join us in the break room. I'm posting this video there and all the other assets and all the other stuff I found. And good luck. I hope you stay healthy, and good luck with this process. Thank you.